Now, we heard Alyssa Thomas give her response to the media. Now, this is a clip from Caitlin Clark, which was a couple months ago, which was like almost. Let's roll the clip real quick. Let's listen.
Leg sleeve come about?
I knew that would be the first question.
Because it just shows you how Caitlin Clark plays with the media. She don't give them a negative her more than NBA players. You retarded. I just gotta be honest, man. Just fact checked it. It was not a real picture. But with all that being said, this is what Good Morning America.
Now, the fallout from the WNBA incident involving Caitlin Clark and Alyssa Thomas. Thomas, who was a six-time All-Star for the Mercury, says she.
This morning, WNBA star Alyssa Thomas.
Caitlin Clark is a WNBA All-Star for the third straight year. That's not the headline, though. The real story is her own Fever teammate, Raven Johnson, catching harassment online just for celebrating Clark making it. And this is where it gets rich, because we've watched WNBA players spend all season blaming the Caitlin Clark fanbase for every ounce of online drama. Now the shoe's on the other foot, and a player is getting dragged for showing love to a teammate. You can't have it both ways.
And nothing is called. She definitely get hit harder than any NBA player right now. I think we all could agree with that. If you guys do not believe Caitlin Clark get fouled more than NBA players, you retarded. I just gotta be honest, man. One comment said, let's see here. Oh, Lucky Charm. We ain't gonna read that. Somebody said if this is true, she shows how much she loves America's sports. Definitely look like AI. Somebody said that's cool as hell watching great competitors be real.
Here's the part that exposes the whole double standard. The second Raven Johnson starts getting embraced by the Caitlin Clark fanbase, she becomes a target from inside her own league's fanbase instead. That tells you everything about who's actually driving the toxicity in this story, and it's not who gets blamed the most. If supporting a teammate now makes you a traitor, that's not a Caitlin Clark fan problem. That's a some of y'all problem. And it's time people said that out loud instead of pretending it only flows one direction.
What is going on here? Now, some of the comments said it so good to see her. She gets in harder than any of these guys, and nothing is called. She definitely get hit harder than any NBA player right now. I think we all could agree with that. If you guys do not believe Caitlin Clark get fouled more than NBA players, you retarded. I just gotta be honest, man. One comment said, let's see here. Oh, Lucky Charm. We ain't gonna read that. Somebody said
Let's get into the actual numbers, because this is the receipt people keep dancing around. Clark is second in the league in assists and tied for fourth in scoring, but when it came to the player vote for All-Star, her peers ranked her 11th at the guard spot. Second by fans, third by media, 11th by the very players she shares a floor with. Now, only about half the league actually turned in a ballot, so it's not the full room speaking. But that gap between how fans and media see her production versus how her peers rank her is exactly the kind of stat that keeps this jealousy conversation alive every single season.
Which was like almost like a nonsense question, but listen to the level of professionalism Caitlin Clark have about this question. Let's roll the clip real quick. Let's listen.
Leg sleeve come about?
I knew that would be the first question.
I wanted to ask about golf, but she went to the leg sleeve.
People are wondering.
Just a little compression on the leg. I mean, I don't know.
Leg sleeve come about?
I knew that would be the first.
So you guys heard Caitlin Clark's response. Now, some of you guys are saying probably to yourself, John, why play that? Because it just shows you how Caitlin Clark.
Sophie Cunningham not cracking the All-Star picture is the snub nobody's talking about enough. She's leading the entire WNBA in three-point shooting percentage this season, and she barely moved in these latest returns. If you're the most efficient shooter from deep in the league, that should be a real conversation, not a footnote. I'm not saying Aaliyah Boston or Kelsey Mitchell don't belong. They do, but the Fever easily could have had 4 All-Stars this year, and the fact that Sophie's case barely gets acknowledged says something about how these narratives get built around who's already famous.
And that's something a lot of these professional women basketball players are not. They are not media trained. So them saying little things, even Stephanie White work at ESPN. It's just certain things she just should not say because it's going to be a bonehead mistake. Just like her sounding like. Now, I'm not saying that she actually meant to basically defend Alyssa Thomas, but it sounded extremely like she was defending it and putting it all off on the fans and not letting AT take responsibilities for choking Caitlin Clark out on the basketball court. Now, this is the moment we all have.
Clark finished with just over 1 million votes and still got beat out by Paige Buchers by roughly 22,000. And look, credit to Buchers, she's having a great season in Dallas. But the Yukon Mafia jokes exist for a reason at this point. What actually bothers me is the 1BA sitting on viewership numbers for these other matchups instead of just putting them out there. If Buchers' games are pulling the kind of audience Clark's are, show us. The fact that we're not getting a clean, transparent number is exactly what keeps this conspiracy-adjacent conversation alive instead of shutting it down with data.
NBA saying they condemn all forms of hate, saying in a statement, the safety and well-being of everyone in our community is always the league's top priority, adding the league and security team have been in contact with the Phoenix Mercury organization and remain committed to protecting all players.
We did reach out to the Fever. We have not heard back, but the Fever...
Now here's the part of this story that actually matters. Scroll through Raven Johnson's comment section right now, and you'll find people telling her she's surviving a racist environment and needs to either lie for the people around her or tell the truth and go home. That's an insane thing to say to a rookie for posting support for her own teammate. This isn't fandom, this is people trying to force a black player into picking a side in a manufactured culture war that has nothing to do with basketball.
Currently saying about Caitlin Clark and this whole situation involving Alyssa Thomas.
Now, the fallout from the WNBA incident involving Caitlin Clark and Alyssa Thomas. Thomas, who was a 6-time All-Star for the Mercury, says she has received death threats after she appeared to push her fist into Clark's throat in a recent game. Rand and Allie is here with this story. This is getting a lot of attention.
It's getting so much attention. Alyssa Thomas says this was a complete accident. She says she didn't mean to do this, but now she's being painted as a thug, getting death threats. She's sick and tired of the league not doing more to protect its players off the court.
And here's the thing. I was in Indianapolis and saw this with my own eyes. Raven Johnson taking pictures with Caitlin Clark fans, signing Caitlin Clark jerseys, showing genuine love to the fan base like the professional she is. She wasn't faking anything. So when people turn around and harass her for celebrating a teammate's success after she's shown that fan base nothing but respect in person, that's not activism, that's just cruelty dressed up as loyalty to a cause.
And nothing is called. She definitely get hit harder than any NBA player right now. I think we all could agree with that. If you guys do not believe Caitlin Clark get fouled more than NBA players, you retarded. I just gotta be honest, man. One comment said, let's see here. Oh, Lucky Charm. We ain't gonna read that. Somebody said if this is true, she shows how much she loves America's sports. Definitely look like AI. Somebody said that's cool as hell watching great competitors be real.
I went digging through her socials trying to actually find the harassment everyone's talking about, and half the internet's already flooded with people begging her to stay, saying aliens must have scrambled her brain, which, come on, that's a wild way to talk about a 22-year-old who just showed support for a teammate. The pile-on here isn't really about basketball opinions anymore. It's about controlling what a black athlete is allowed to say publicly, and that should bother everybody watching this, regardless of who your favorite player is.
No media run, no media talk, but she did appear at a soccer game. Now, we're going to get to that on X in a hot second, but something else we have to address is Dan Dietrich and Christine Brennan of USA Today having a very, very detailed interview about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA LGBTQ community, basically targeting Caitlin Clark fans and damn near targeting.
Then you get comments like Raven is gone, she's chosen her side, showing up on threads, and that phrase alone should stop you in your tracks. Chosen her side of what? Exactly. She plays for the Indiana Fever. Caitlin Clark is her teammate. There is no side here. There's just a rookie being a good locker room presence, and a chunk of this fan base treating basic teamwork like a betrayal.
Catch you at a game, John, or this and that in the comment section, damn near every day, bro. I've been doing this thing almost 4 years, and it's never a dull moment with somebody threatening or something, botting channels. But make a long story short, that is part of the business that you sign up for when you make yourself a public figure. And that's all I'm saying with this entire thing, is that If these players open up themselves,
Raven Johnson was drafted onto this team, and she's supporting her teammate. That's it. That's the whole story. I genuinely do not understand how that becomes controversial in anybody's mind. This is the most normal, expected thing a professional athlete can do, and it's being treated like she crossed some invisible picket line that only exists in certain corners of this fanbase's imagination.
basketball, talk to the media about the game, but you never see her actually portray herself as being the victim. See, that is something that these WNBA players do a lot. They always make themselves a victim and not take responsibility for their actions on the basketball court. Now, with that being said, let's head on over to X so I can show y'all what the hell I'm talking about. Now, something I want to talk about before we get into Caitlin Clark response to Stephanie White and this whole list of time.
And that's why I'll say this plainly. The 1BA wants to be a great league for all women athletes, but right now it's one of the most mocked leagues in all of sports, and moments like this are exactly why. Nobody respects a league where a rookie gets torched online for supporting her own teammate. That's not a growing pains story. That's an embarrassment. And the league needs to reckon with what its own fanbase culture is doing to these young players.
Bro, but I just fact checked it. It was not a real picture. But with all that being said, this is what Good Morning America is currently saying about Caitlin Clark and this whole situation involving Alyssa Thomas.
Now, the fallout from the WNBA incident involving Caitlin Clark and Alyssa Thomas. Thomas, who was a 6-time All-Star for the Mercury, says she has received death threats after she appeared to push her fist into Clark's throat in a recent game. Rand Alley is here with this story. This is getting a lot of attention.
It's getting so much attention. Alyssa Thomas says this.
And just to remind everybody what this league has already let slide this season, go back and look at the fist to the throat, the knee pressed into her, Bonner standing right there while it happened. We can't make this up. And this is the same league that then turned around and had its players rank Caitlin Clark 11th. It is what it is, but it's not a good look, and it's exactly why this Raven Johnson pile-on hits different right now.
Well, look like Caitlin Clark has responded to all of the nonsense that has been going on online for the past week. That is by saying nothing at all. Her actions is speaking to the world and letting everybody know she is unbothered with this entire situation. Now, we know Stephanie White did this press conference.